Hello well-wishers and welcome to my channel Aspiring Minds. In today's video, we are going to discuss William Wordsworth's poem Lucy Gray. So grab your virtual seats and let's begin. William Wordsworth was a major English romantic poet who, along with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, helped to launch the Romantic Age in English literature with their joint publication called Lyrical Ballads. His poetry is characterized by the use of ordinary or simple language with focus on nature, childhood, and the human soul. Lucy Gray is a lyrical ballad composed by William Wordsworth in 1799. It tells the tragic story of a young girl named Lucy Gray who goes out during a snowstorm and never returns, becoming a part of a local legend. So the poem is inspired by a real event Wordsworth had heard about during his travels in Yorkshire. And that brings me to discussing that the main focus of this poem is going to be on nature, innocence, and loss. It depicts the beauty and innocence of the girl called Lucy Gray, and her mysterious disappearance suggests the power of unpredictability. The poem leaves a lasting impression of both the fragility of human life and the enduring spirit of the lost child. Let us now begin discussing the stanza-wise meaning of the poem. Stanza 1. Oft I had heard of Lucy Gray, and when I crossed the wild, I chanced to see at break of day the solitary child. So the speaker begins by stating that he has often heard stories about Lucy Gray, a well-known figure in the local legend. One day, while traveling through the wild countryside at dawn, the speaker happens to imagine and see Lucy, who is alone and isolated. The introduction sets a very sad tone right from the beginning, hinting at Lucy's solitary or alone existence. Stanza 2. No maid, no comrade, Lucy knew. She dwelt on a wide moor, the sweetest thing that ever grew. So Lucy is said to be living a life of solitude on the expansive moor. A moor is a kind of an open land. She would have no friends or companions to keep her company. Despite being isolated, she is described as the sweetest and the most delightful child, cherished by those who knew her. So this stanza emphasizes on her innocence and the natural beauty of Lucy Gray's character. Stanza 3. Yet you may spy the fawn at play, the hare upon the green, but the sweetest face of Lucy Gray will never more be seen. So this stanza contrasts the continuing life of nature and other animals that exist in nature while Lucy is absent. While one can still see the young deer or a fawn and the rabbits or the hare in the area, Lucy's sweet face will never be seen again. This contrast highlights the tragic disappearance of Lucy Gray and the permanence of her loss. Stanza 4. Tonight will be a stormy night. You to the town must go and take a lantern, child, to light your mother through the snow. So Lucy's father warns her about a kind of a storm that was about to hit the place, and he instructs her to go to the town to bring her mother home safely, giving her a lantern to light the way through the snowy conditions. This request sets in motion the events that led to her disappearance. Stanza 5. That, Father, will I gladly do. It is scarcely afternoon. The minster clock has just struck 2, and yonder is the moon. So Lucy responds cheerfully and agrees to the task. She notes that it is still early in the afternoon, even though the moon is already visible due to the gathering of storm clouds. Her willingness and the early time suggest that she feels confident about her journey. Stanza 6. At this the father raised his hook and snapped a faggot band. He plied his work and Lucy took the lantern in her hand. So her father continues with his work, securing the firewood for the storm, while Lucy takes the lantern and sets off. This moment captures how normal a situation it was when Lucy was departing from her home. It was an ordinary day in the daily life routine, unaware of the impending tragedy. Stanza 7. Not blitter is the mountain row, with many a wanton stroke her feet disperse the powdery snow that rises up like smoke. So Lucy is described as being happy and lively as a mountain deer. She joyfully makes her way through the snow, her steps scattering the powdery snow in the air, which rises like smoke. This imagery emphasizes her innocence and joy, highlighting the contrast with what was about to come, the dark fate. She was an innocent child and she was, playing with the powdery snow as she was heading towards her journey. Stanza 8. The storm came on before in its time. She wandered up and down, and many a hill did Lucy climb, but never reached the town. So the storm arrives earlier than expected, and Lucy becomes disoriented. She is confused. She wanders aimlessly, climbing many hills, but never being able to find her way to the town. So this stanza portrays the overwhelming power of nature and Lucy's helplessness in this current situation. Stanza 9. The wretched parents all that night went shouting far and wide, but there was neither sound nor sight to serve them for a guide. So Lucy's parents searched for her throughout the night, calling out and scouring the area. Despite their attempts and efforts, they are able to not find her at any cost. So this stanza highlights the parents' helplessness of the situation. Stanza 10. At daybreak on a hill they stood that overlooked the moor, and thence they saw the bridge of wood a furlong from their door. So at dawn time the parents stand on a hill that gives them a view of the moor. From this point they see a wooden bridge not far from their home. This moment offers a glimmer of hope, a ray of hope, as they continue with their search in the daylight. Stanza 11. They wept and turning homeward cried, in heaven we all shall meet. When in the snow the mother spied the print of Lucy's feet. Now as the parents are losing hope, they turn back, resigning themselves to the belief that the only way they will be able to reunite with their daughter Lucy would be in heaven. The mother at this time spots Lucy's footprints in the snow. This discovery reignites their hope and provides a clue for them to follow. Stanza 12. Then downwards from the steep hill's edge they tracked the footmarks small, and through the broken hawthorn hedge and by the long stone wall. So the parents follow the small footprints down the hill through a broken hawthorn hedge and alongside a stone wall. So this stanza highlights the details of their determined search. They are driven by the hope of finding Lucy Gray. Stanza 13. And then an open field they crossed, the marks were still the same. They tracked them on, nor ever lost, and to the bridge they came. So the footprints lead them across an open field, and they do not lose the trail. The footprints guide them to the wooden bridge, which was mentioned earlier, remember, sometime back. So it continues to provide them with a hope in their search. Stanza 14. They followed from the snowy bank those footmarks one by one into the middle of the plank, and further there were none. So the parents follow the footprints onto the bridge, but they stop suddenly in the middle of the plank of wood. This sudden end of the trail suggests that Lucy may have fallen into the water below or otherwise disappeared mysteriously. Stanza 15. Yet some maintain that to this day she is a living child, that you may see sweet Lucy Gray upon the lonesome wild. Despite tragic outcome, the local legend or a local story that persists is that Lucy Gray's spirit continues to live on. Some people believe that they can still see her wandering in the wild moors, suggesting that her memory lives on and that she has become a part of the landscape. Finally, the final stanza. Over rough and smooth she trips along and never looks behind, and sings a solitary song that whistles in the wind. In the final stanza, Lucy is depicted as a ghostly figure moving effortlessly over a rough and smooth terrain. She is always looking forward and singing a lonely song that blends with the wind. This image reinforces her eternal presence in the natural world and the haunting beauty of a legend or a story that surrounds her existence and disappearance. To understand this poem better, we can look at these three major themes. Firstly, nature and solitude. Second, innocence and purity. And thirdly, loss and grief. Let us look at them in details now. To talk to you about nature and solitude, we can see that Lucy's life is deeply connected with the natural world around her. She lives on a wide open moor, a landscape which is characterized by its wild beauty. The poem depicts her as a part of this landscape, blending with its serenity and harshness. Nature in the poem serves both as a backdrop and a character. It reflects the beauty of Lucy's existence and the cruelty of her fate. Her solitude, or being alone on the moor, is both literal and metaphorical. She has no human companions, which emphasizes her uniqueness and purity. This isolation, however, also makes her vulnerable to the elements, leading her to face the tragic fate. To talk to you about innocence and purity, we see that Lucy Gray represents the ideal of innocence and purity. She is untouched by the evils and corruption of the world. She is living a simple, solitary life amidst nature. Her character embodies the romantic ideal of a child's natural goodness and simple beauty of living. She's a pure and innocent child, characterized by sweetness and joy. Her playfulness in the snow and her eagerness to help her parents reflect her goodness in character. The poem also explores the theme of loss and grief through the eyes of Lucy's parents. Their desperate search for her and the realization of her disappearance highlight the deep emotional impact of losing a loved one. The parents' search throughout the night illustrates their deep love and the anguish, the sense of restlessness they feel. The grief of Lucy's parents highlights the human cost of the tragedy, their despair and resignation to meet Lucy in heaven highlights the depth of their emotional pain and the irreparable damage which is caused by her disappearance. Which also brings me to discussing that there are also subtle hints of mystery and supernatural in the poem, because there is a lot of ambiguity in where did this girl ultimately disappear. So we see how each of these themes contribute to Lucy Gray the poem, blending human emotion with the powerful forces of nature and the mysterious unseen elements of existence. So that's it from this video. I hope you liked it. Do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more such future updates. Thank you for watching. Bye.